Alright everybody, this is just a quick unplanned video. I just want to get my thoughts out on something. So Eric and I on Wednesday had just finished recording the next episode of the Party Wagon podcast, and very quickly after that, the Super 7 Wave 10 was revealed. And there's a lot to say about it, and I just can't wait 2 weeks to say anything about it. Eric already did a video on it on his channel. Go check it out. I just want to, get my thoughts out right now. So we got 4 figures shown off. Originally it was 5, but then they kind of went back on that. It's 4, so I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about the 5th figure or not, but I'll bring that up at the end of the video. So we got Rat King, finally, although there's a lot to be said about that Rat King. He was one of my most demanded figures. I wanted Rat King, General Trag, and Worm probably as my top 3. We got Rat King finally. We got Classic Rocker Leo, which has always been my least favorite of the 4 musical turtles. Rappin' Mike and Heavy Metal Raph are way cooler than Classic Rocker Leo, but it's just me. Then we got April O'Neil as a ninja, and it isn't Ninja Newscaster from the vintage line. It's just something they made up. Yeah, I can live without it. And then we have Casey Jones. And yeah, we got Casey Jones already, but now he has a red shirt. So I'm not just trying to dump on Super 7. A lot of people are dumping on them. It's easy to do, but I gotta call it like I see it. I love this toy line. For a while, I actually considered it my favorite. The NECA ones definitely overshadowed it at this point just because of the quantity and quality. But I really loved the Super 7 line. There was a bit where it was my favorite. I love the display of them in my room. I think it's the best looking display of figures that I have in my room. I really like it. Or liked it, but they've been messing up a lot. Wave 8 I thought was the worst of the worst with the recolor of Shredder and stuff, but compared to what they just showed us, Wave 8 actually looks kind of amazing. This is by far the worst choice they've ever done. And so there is a rumor going around, I don't know if it's true or not, but there's been a rumor going around that Playmates was not cool with Super 7 recreating their figures, and they want those to be theirs, and they don't want Super 7s to look like their vintage figures. I don't know if that's true or not. It could make sense if it was true. I'd get why. I don't think that's very cool since Playmates isn't doing anything good with those designs anyway. But if that's the case, that sucks. And I do feel bad for Super 7 that, this line was taken away from them if that's the case. But I think on Super 7's part, it's their responsibility to be honest with us and tell us that up front that we will not be getting figures inspired by the vintage Playmates line anymore. We're going to be getting their own takes on Ninja Turtles because legally they're not allowed to do that. I think some honesty would be good here instead of them just acting like everything's okay as they're showing us a wave of figures that nobody on Earth asked for. And if they're just going to keep putting out stuff like this with their already, failing line, their line's already dying in popularity as every wave comes out, they're really just going to kill it. They're just going to kill the whole line. And it's happened to a lot of Super 7 lines. And I don't want that to happen because I really like Super 7's TMNT line. Well, I did. But if this is what we're going to be getting from now on, count me out. I guess the main thing to talk about first is just the selection of characters. Rat King is really the only one fans have been clamoring for that we got here. The rest of these are just, Classic Rocker Leo can kind of get, because okay, let's finish the music turtles since we started it already with Donnie. I mean, we still haven't finished the Turtles in Disguise, but I get why they're not going to do Undercover Turtle because they already made Raph the Undercover Turtle, so making Don that would be redundant. So I kind of get Leo. I do think he's everyone's least favorite from the bunch. I do think Heavy Metal Raph and Rappin' Mike are definitely more popular, but I get him. But the recolor of Casey, I get he's supposed to look like the Mirage Comics coloration of Casey. For me, it's just a recolor, so I don't buy recolors. I haven't gotten any of the glow in the dark ones, which are much cooler recolors. I'm not getting that Shredder. I don't do recolors because I feel like when I get to the point where I'm collecting recolors in the toy line, that's when I crossed the line of like, I'm not collecting what I want anymore. I'm just collecting what they make. I'm just gonna buy whatever the hell they make. And it's not really the collection I want. And I feel like if I go too long doing that, I'm gonna reach that point where I look at the collection and just think, wow, what a bunch of wasted money. So I don't want to do that. I only want to collect what I actually want, what I can look at on my shelf and be like, wow, that's so cool. I love this line. I don't want a bunch of recolors of the same figures. So I won't be getting that Casey. That's a completely just useless slot in this wave, I think. I don't know what the hell that April thing is. Like I said, it's not Ninja Newscaster. Even if it was, nobody wants the Ninja Newscaster. I think they're trying to make an attempt to put more female figures in the line, especially given the one that was canceled from this line or taken out of this line, whatever. I just don't think making alts of April this early on is something people want. I know there's not that many female characters to choose from. Like, you got to do Kala or Mona Lisa or Irma, really. Of course, I'd be partial to Mona Lisa. Even then, I mean, Mona Lisa's vintage figure was not the most interesting. I like it. I do have an attachment to it, but compared to so many of the other figures in the line, that would really be disappointing if they did her, in all honesty. It's coming from, a huge Mona Lisa fan, but even then, it's like, I wouldn't even want that. I just think the point of this line was to kind of like revive people's childhoods and give us plussed versions of our childhood figures, and that's why most people liked it. I was down for some artistic liberties. I know a lot of other people didn't like that. Like, I thought the Gorilla figure looked really cool. I still can't wait to get that figure. It's actually one of the most hyped figures from this line for me. And I know a lot of people weren't crazy about that because it's not Sergeant Bananas from the vintage line. It's very different. But I have Sergeant Bananas from the vintage line. He's not going anywhere. So I kind of want to see like crazy new takes on these classic characters, just making them look really badass. And that Wilderness Hunter Crocker figure, I know it's not technically Leatherhead from Fury Planet, but it is my favorite Leatherhead figure. It's one of my favorite action figures I own. I was blown away by how cool that thing was. I love that figure. So honestly, that's more of what I want, is just like creative takes on familiar Ninja Turtle characters. But we didn't get a single mutant in this wave outside of Leo, but I mean, there's always a turtle. We didn't get like a big figure. There's usually like a big chunky one in each wave, at least one. And you look at the last wave, it was so good. We had like Wingnut and Screw Loose, and we had Scumbug, and we had Basketball Donnie, and we just had like a crazy assortment of characters, a really interesting assortment of characters. And then you look at this one, and it's just a bunch of stickly human figures, and it's just boring. It's really boring. And I don't know how I've gone this long without mentioning it, but the Rat King design, this is the one that kind of gives some sort of potential credit to the rumor of them not being able to do Playmates figures, because he doesn't come with any of the accessories the vintage toy came with. No crossbow, no cat belt, none of that stuff. He just has the flute from the cartoon show and a few rats, which the rats were just sculpted on him in the vintage toy. But he doesn't have, the eaten away hair. He doesn't have the missing teeth. He doesn't have the blood red eyes. He's sexy for some reason. We got this like sexy 2000s emo rock band Rat King. I don't know what this Rat King is. I don't think anyone wanted this Rat King face, this style of Rat King with that crazy hair. It's like he looks like a 2000s emo star. I don't know what the reasoning is. I don't know if maybe they were just holding off on doing Rat King for so long because the sculptors hate that vintage figure and they thought this is going to be our cool redesign of it. We're going to make it better. Because they did say, I know one of the sculptors said he did hate Pizza Face, and that was the reason they weren't taking so long to do Pizza Face despite fans really wanting Pizza Face. So I don't know if we're going to get sexy Pizza Face in the next wave after that. In wave 11, we're going to get sexy emo Pizza Face. I don't really know. I don't think so. I think this is just, they can't, it could be the Playmates thing. It could just be they can't use the original one. I have heard rumors also that the sculptors have changed, and I would believe that. Also, the classic Rocker Leo doesn't come with the accessories that the vintage classic Rocker Leo came with. So it is very likely that something did happen where, for whatever reason, they do have to change the direction of the line away from Playmates. But the Gorilla figure just showed how good they were at improv, at making a new design that fits in beautifully with the vintage style. Like, Gorilla's a cool looking figure. Even if you don't like the fact that it doesn't look like Sergeant Bananas, even if, you think it doesn't belong, you still can't look at it and be like, oh, that's not a cool action figure. I feel like everyone who sees that is going to be like, okay, that's a cool action figure. These are not cool action figures. These look terrible, and I don't really want any of them on my shelves. I'll probably get Rat King just because he's the Rat King. Maybe not. Maybe I'll just pass. I might get Classic Rocker Leo just because I'll have Don, the Punker Don, but I don't know. I don't really know if I even want any of these, because if this is where the line's going, I might be done with the Super 7 line after Wave 9. Wave 9 might be the last thing I get. And that kind of bums me out because I really wanted Napoleon to go with Genghis. I really wanted to finish some things. All we needed was General Trag and Rat King to finish the 89 figure line, or wave, I should say. And we're never going to get General Trag, and he could have been such an awesome, massive figure by then. So I just feel like this is the end of the line, unfortunately, if this is what's actually going to be happening from now on. Unless all of a sudden, 4 months from now, they unveil Wave 11 and it has all these crazy vintage Playmate style figures and big chunky monsters and everything, and they prove me wrong. Unless that happens, it seems like this line is done. If this is the case, if they are just not able to do these Playmates figures anymore, like I said, I think they need to come out and tell everyone that and be honest instead of pretending that everything the fans are pointing out that's happening is not happening. So as I said, there was a figure shown off for a brief second, and then the image was taken down, and they put the image back up without this figure. And that is Karai. Now, Karai never had a vintage action figure. She should have, probably, but she never had a vintage action figure. Karai is from the Mirage comics. She's kind of blown up ever since the 2003 cartoon brought her in. Then she was in the 2007 movie. She was huge in the 2012 cartoon. She was in the Michael Bay movies. She's big in the IDW comics. She's a big deal now. Karai's kind of just become one of the main Turtles characters. I don't personally find her to be the most interesting character usually. I'm usually more drawn to like mutants and crazy creatures and stuff in Ninja Turtles. I like the limit on human characters to kind of just be April and Casey and Shredder when it comes to like fighters and stuff, and everything else, any more mutants, it starts to feel a little boring to me. But she's not a bad character. Yeah, so we were supposed to get her in this wave, and this is a completely made up figure because she wasn't in the vintage toy line at all. So they were just gonna make her up. So we would have had 4 human characters and a turtle. That is the most uninteresting wave of this toy line so far. Previously, I really don't think they ever did more than like 1 human character at most. But in this one, they were going to do 4 human characters and 1 turtle. Now we're getting 3 human characters and a turtle. I just think that's inexcusable. I don't know why Karai was taken out of this wave. If anything, I would have taken out the Casey or the April and put Karai in instead and erased that other one. I would have actually put Karai in and then made Casey like the extra figure, like how they do Flocked Splinter and Glow in the Dark, this guy and that guy and everything. I feel like that would have been a better idea. But they went ahead and decided to just get rid of her. I don't know what the reasoning is. I don't know if there was some kind of legality and maybe they're not allowed to make figures of Karai because maybe in their agreement they can only make figures of characters Playmates made toys of. I don't know. That would kind of mess things up with the whole Gorilla thing. So I really don't know what the technicalities are, why they took Karai out of this lineup, but even Karai wouldn't have saved it. I think this line is just, this wave is just terrible. Again, I hate sounding so negative. I sound so miserable right now. It's like they're just toys. It's not the end of the world. And, you know, I do love all the good products they have made so far. I'm never going to stop loving the figures that they made that were great in the past. But it is a shame that, you know, we were just really getting started with this line. And it's already kind of done. And I don't think it's going to have much life. Even if they were to like reveal a really good Wave 11, would it matter? Or is everyone just, you know, off board with this thing now? No one cares anymore. So it doesn't matter who they do. Like, the line is dead. It might be like cemented. The death of this line might be cemented already. And we might just stop at 10, or we might have one last whimper with 11. But yeah, it's a shame. I just wanted to get my thoughts out because, you know, this is going to be old news by the time we record our next video. So I got some other stuff coming up. You know, I already got possession of a lot of the Haulathon figures. I finally found them in Target, and Eric's been nice enough to pick up some of them and, you know, send them over to me. So I will be doing, you know, a look at them briefly. I'm going to be doing like a review of the Mona Lisa one, I guess, because I've just talked about that figure so much already, and that was like my most wanted character. So I'll do like a little review of her, even though I usually don't do figure reviews. And I should have some more content coming out, and thanks to anybody who stuck around through all of this. I hope this wasn't too much of a downer. Do all the liking and subscribing and the sharing and the bell stuff.